Well, this is J.D. Manier with my guest Willie Montague on the Concerned Commander Radio Show. You're a candidate for Florida's 10th district, Willie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
And it's a very special district
Yes.
because we have a very high-ranking Democrat that we're seeking to flip the House on, and she could very well, by the time this airs or in the next few weeks, she could end up being vice presidential nominee for Joe Biden.
Scary thought.
Val Demings. Willie, give us your thoughts, because you're in a great situation to flip this House. It's going to take a work of God, because that's just how politics works down here in this district. But tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, as JD mentioned, I am Willie Montague. I am the Republican candidate for House District 10 in the beautiful state of Florida. And one of the things that we need to look at is that for the last 27 years that she was in law enforcement, Val Demings, and 4 years she has been as a congresswoman, she has not really served her community adequately, and we need to really get her out of the place that she has been in. And as JD shared, this is a very important district because it makes up about 800,000 residents in District 10, all who really need a voice that will represent them in DC. And so it's important that we move forward. It's important that we see what needs to be done in the community and that we hear from you guys who are the constituents.
Well, right now, race relations.
Yes.
It's a huge topic.
Right.
The Democrat Party is not offering anything except misery.
Mm-hmm.
And you have something called the PUSH Act.
Yes.
Can you describe that for us?
The PUSH Act, which is Policing Under Strategic Harmony Act, is an act that is an outline right now. We are working on outlining and giving more thorough approach to how we would handle the police brutality that is taking place. One of the things we want to do is make sure that we hold the police officers accountable by giving them body cams, making sure that they are not investigating their own departments. That is something that people may not be aware of, that when an incident happens, they are investigated among their own departments. But we want to be able to offer either a citizen review, or that other departments come in and be able to review those incidents so that we can get the bad apples out, because there are good police officers, just like there's good people all over the world, but we do have to weed out the bad, and we need to do that being effective, but we do not need to get rid of the whole police force or defund the police. I think that is an error that will really cripple us as a community and as America as a whole.
You know, it's kind of hard to get rid of bad teachers, the teachers' unions.
Yeah.
And conservatives know that. Well, you have the police unions,
Mm-hmm.
and they give more money
Mm-hmm.
to Democrats than any other party.
Mm-hmm.
And these contracts make it very hard to get rid of these bad apples.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can flip this House, and I think you're the man,
Mm-hmm.
we can begin to tackle this problem.
Correct. Yeah.
in an effective way.
Mm-hmm.
But the left, they just want to riot and protest and tear
Mm-hmm.
down statues and
Mm-hmm.
tear down communities and burn the cities down.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You're a pastor,
Yes.
really, and we need to let the people know just the work of God you've done so incredibly here in Central Florida.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yes, I'm the president and founder of an organization called the House of Timothy. House of Timothy works with youth and young adult boys between the ages of 7 to 25. How this organization came about, one thing is that a lot don't know that my father was not present in my life, and if we look at the numbers, and I won't get into that now, but if we look at the numbers, that is detrimental to the household, and we really need to be impactful in our community, especially with those who are fatherless. And so I stepped in and I started this organization where we can really spearhead getting these youth and young adults up off of their feet and really working towards being assets and not liabilities. And we don't want them to be another statistic. That's one thing that I do see happening in the community often. They're constantly being labeled and used as numbers, but they're young men, and they need to be recognized as being I like to call them men of nobility and salient character. So we want to be able to instill that in them and instill that in the community. And that's part of my ministry as being a pastor, but as someone that has adopted one of the young boys when he was 19. Florida's an adult adoption state. I adopted him because his father was not present, neither really the whole family. And I wanted to step in to be that voice for him and for the other young men. And it's very important that as one that is in ministry, that our community sees that. Our community needs to see a balance. And that's what I think we're missing, especially in District 10. We have many people who are a voice, a reason for DC, as I like to call it, the special interest group, but they're not the voice of the community. We need to change that, and we can change that by having a foundation of faith and also having a foundation that really is concerned about the community.
Well, you do such an incredible job. Sometimes 50 youth at the same time you're mentoring.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But you create boundaries, don't you?
Yes.
And you have a playbook.
Yes.
It's called the Bible.
Yes.
Congress is supposed to have a playbook. It's called the Constitution.
Yeah.
But the Democrats say it's a living document and they just make it anything they want it to be. But you're a principled conservative, and you are a fresh air to this part of the country. And talk more about your constitutional views and your conservative principles.
Right. Well, one thing is we definitely need to 100% stand on the Constitution. If you have seen throughout the last the last couple of months, you can see that the Constitution is being stomped on by those who are in D.C. and even those who are on state level. And we really have to have people who are going to represent the community through the Constitution and standing on that. One of the issues that I stand on is making sure that you can adhere Second Amendment. I know that is being something that's targeted and have been for probably about the last 4 years. We have seen a big number of Democrat leaders who want to get rid of the guns, and then they want to defund the police. That's going to be a worse ride than we have ever seen to hit our country. If you don't have police and then you're taking away the constitutional right, your Second Amendment right, and then they're wanting to snatch away the First Amendment by having your freedom of speech. Is okay to have riots and to tear the streets apart, but it's not okay for us to stand up and have organized gatherings where we talk about the policies and the issues. So that's my stance right now, is that we really need to target the Constitution and get it out and let people know this is what we're standing on. This is our playbook, as you had mentioned, that we need to get back. Congress needs to get back, and some people need to be signing some pledges to let us know that they're going to abide by the Constitution, because that's the oath. That's the oath that we need to stand on, and we need to get these people out of here that's not going to represent according to the Constitution. And
you've signed some pledges. No new taxes.
Yes.
And you're a principled conservative, the kind that is desperately needed to lead. I could see you in the Freedom Caucus in Washington, working on issues. Talk about some other issues that really, for your community, I'm sure healthcare.
Healthcare, we call it the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, and it's very important that we need to look at that again. I know that I've spoken to people who have absolutely no job. They get no money. They go in and they apply for this Obamacare, and they end up with a $300 premium. How is someone without a job able to afford $300 premium? We need to look at the health care again. I believe it was a failed action. It was an attempt really to silence those that actually want the freedom of choice and to be able to pick their health care and their needs. Because one thing about it, the government doesn't know what's going on in your body. We do. And we need to be our own voices for our own health care, and we need to be able to make sure that those who represent us on the congressional level and the state level understand you do not control our bodies, and you need to make sure that those who are representing you understand you want to make your own health care choices. And the way we can do that is to repeal the Obamacare.
We only have about a minute left, and it's really been a pleasure having you on the Conservative Commander Radio Show. But what would you like to tell our audience with about a minute to go?
Well, if you live in District 10 or you're in Florida and want to share about the campaign, go to MontagueforCongress.com. Let people know to vote on August 18th. This is a very pivotal election cycle, 2020 here, and we need all the volunteers and the help that we can get. And if you want to donate, same link, MontagueforCongress.com. Make sure you get out there and vote. Make sure that you vote. And remember, Willie is an easy name to remember. Willie Montague. Thank you.
Well, Willie, we want to thank you for coming on the Conservative Commander Radio Show. It's been our pleasure. God bless.
Thank you. God bless.